Hey guys, today I want to talk about how we as an American Beyblade community are kind of stifling our own growth. So that's what I want to talk about today. And yes, I am part of the problem. So somebody commented on one of my videos. I'm sorry, I forgot the name, but he said that he had just won a tournament, but it was Hasbro restricted. Now, to my understanding, that means it was a Hasbro stadium, which he said in the post, but you could only use Hasbro labeled blades. Now, this gets back to my thinking on how Wizards of the Coast, which Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast has their own play network for games like Magic the Gathering and other things like that they run it through game stores across the world, really. I think it's called their play network. And there was a rumor saying that Beyblade X was coming through that play network. Now, there's one link that works, but if you try to find it on the Wizards of the Coast website, it doesn't exist. You have to use one special code and then it says coming in the, spring. Coming in the fall, but it still isn't here. Nobody has heard anything about it other than that one post. So it's up in the air. Will Wizards of the Coast run through your game store? I don't know. But this is kind of how this all ties together. This guy was saying, hey, it's Hasbro Limited, which I 1,000,000% believe that if Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, right, were to pick this up, send it through your local game store, which we've all said in the comments, on one of my prior videos, we all want that. We want this on the shelf next to Magic the Gathering and stuff like that, seen as a hobby more than, just a toy. So we take that and we say, okay, they want to make their money. They're not going to let us use Takara Tomy products. They're going to make us use the Hasbro products. Why? Because Hasbro has no dog in the fight if we're purchasing all of our stuff from overseas, which is why at the beginning of the video I said I am part of the problem. I am purchasing those blades from overseas because I don't want to wait a year for me to get a Cobalt Dragoon that's already come out in Japan. Now, I don't know how that's lining up. I know that the US is getting a lot of releases and our waves are hitting a lot faster, and we have a lot more launching all at the same time. And from what I see, the blades are pretty similar between Japan and America. Excuse me, I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather. But between Takara Tomy and Hasbro, they're fairly similar. So where does this leave us? If America were to grow, right? If we want our hobby to grow, then we have to start supporting Hasbro. We have to start buying all of those blade releases, not just the ones we like, not just, saying, oh, well, I've already got the Shark Edge from Japan, or I've already got, Liam Crest just came out. I just purchased that to swap parts to something else. I'm buying and I'm watching all of these Japanese releases, and I'm buying from Takara Tomy, which is building and putting money in the Japanese pocket, but not so much the Hasbro American market. Now, there are things out there like the Spider-Man Venom. I know one of my buddies picked that up, so I'll have that coming in. I buy my son a lot of the Hasbro stuff because it's easy and it's on the shelf, and he has that 5-year-old register where, hey, I see it, I want it. And he's not, disciplined enough to say, hey, I see it and it won't be here for 2 weeks or more. Depending on what your pre-order is, right? So we have to start buying more and more Hasbro stuff, and we have to start competing with more and more Hasbro stuff, and we have to start posting about more and more Hasbro stuff, and we have to start tagging Hasbro to let them know that we enjoy the product, because that's how they see, hey, nobody is in business to go out of business. And I don't care. I know that my videos upset a lot of people, and, you guys are like, oh, if that's not what you like, then whatever. I like this, I like that. I don't care. Money is money, right? I run several businesses. Money is money. So when we look at it, Hasbro did not sign on to bring Beyblade over just so we would all buy Takara Tomy products. they're doing a lot of these licensed products, like, hey, making us buy a new drawn sword that just looks like Venom. They're doing that to try and get our money. They're trying to get our money to gauge interest in America. If we keep purchasing from Japan, we're building Takara Tomy, and we've all seen those amazing Japanese tournaments, the amazing Southeast Asia tournaments, all of these things going on, but yet there's nothing like that in America. We can't even get it at our game store. We can't even get a local Beyblade night going. So we have to start supporting Hasbro, whether we like it or not. And I know a lot of us do buy the Hasbro blades. They're easy to pick up. They're on shelves. A lot of people are looking for it. Kids are buying it, but we have to start talking about it more. We have to start showing Hasbro more that, hey, this community does exist, and we are trying to actively push this out there. So yes, am I part of the problem? Absolutely. I'm buying from Japan just like everybody else, but we need to start, and I might throttle back on that, which I'm sorry, as a Baytuber, you guys may not like that. And already I don't buy every blade. I've made tons of videos already talking about how I don't do that. But I may start just going for Hasbro specific, unless I absolutely love something like the new crossover series Drasil that's coming out in the 25th anniversary, 25th anniversary coming out, where Dragoon and everybody else is coming. So unless the specialty projects, I may just start supporting Hasbro. No, Hasbro, obviously my channel is not large enough for them to support or pay me. But if we really want this to grow, to be taken to our local game stores, to start seeing events like they hold in Southeast Asia, like they hold in Japan, we've got to throw the same amount of money at Hasbro that those regions and even people in America and Canada and all over the world are throwing at Japan. That is what is funding those massive tournaments. That is what is funding those things. And to get back on it, the Beyblade road trip, right? That's going around, the Prove It in Battle series. I was unable to go. My son and I were not feeling great that day. But honestly, a lot of my friends went and they were told that they were cheating because their launchers were not that little, Hasbro launcher. They were told that the blades they were using were illegal, that they weren't real Beyblades because they were from Japan, because the people running the event, or that were just hired on, I know how these things work. They hire local talent, right? Like, hey, are you young and hip enough to fill these voids? We may have one or two people, but we're gonna hire you at X amount of dollars per hour to sit here and just say 3, 2, 1, let it rip for kids and whoever comes through. So those people weren't informed about the products, outside of what was in that van. And they had no idea. They thought that my buddies who compete locally, they compete in almost every tournament in Atlanta, and some are even traveling to Florida. They thought that they were cheaters or that their products were illegal just because they're from Japan. Because the Hasbro worker bees have never seen those things before, because they don't actually have a passion for it. It wasn't people like me or you, if you're watching this video, who were hired to do this. You had to use one of their blades, you had to use one of their launchers, and if you beat one of their associates in battle, you won a Beyblade, which is a great marketing tool for like new people, but it's not like, it's great to bring people in, which I really think is what that tour is about. It's not for hardcore competition. And I hope that it has great results, just because that is how we will build competition in the future. But really, for people like us to go to this and try to actually compete, to try to bring a combo that we built, our launchers that are custom fit for us, that's not gonna fly there. And I don't think it's gonna fly in the future either at future Hasbro events. I think that you're gonna have to use Hasbro stuff until it becomes as mainstream as it is in Japan and Southeast Asia. Right now, everyone buying through, I'm sorry, if you're buying through any third-party retailer who is buying from Japan, that money is effectively going to Japan. Doesn't matter where that retailer is from. Hasbro is not seeing any of that money. It's just funneling through Takara Tomy. And if you understand how the process works, Hasbro has just licensed from Takara Tomy. They are owned by, Hasbro owns large amounts of toys here in America. Takara Tomy is Japan. They just licensed, which is why you saw so many problems with Burst. They took that license and effectively pooped on it. With X, they're trying to hold that standard, and if we don't support it, that standard will fall. Look at the early Burst versions versus like the end, where they're solid plastic. We will see that start to deteriorate if we don't keep it at a high level. So all of that to say, we are the problem with what is going with Beyblade America. We have to start supporting Hasbro, whether we like the recolors, whether we like the licensing schemes or not. If we want it to grow outside of what it actually is, then, you know, and we're doing a great job of that. There are tons of bay hunting videos. So I think that the stores are selling out, and that's great. But we have to start pushing the product on our platform, right? So we have to start letting Hasbro know, hey, we love this hobby. We enjoy it. We want more of it, and we want it taken as seriously as everywhere else. That also means using the Hasbro Stadium. I know that a lot of people hate it. I only use the Hasbro Stadium just because if it were to come here in any form, Hasbro is going to use Hasbro stuff. So you have to get used to that smaller stadium until they come out with something else. Now, we can say that we like the Takara Tomy more, and maybe Hasbro will make a Gen 2 that's a little bit larger. But for right now, without putting the money into Hasbro, they're not going to do that because you're already buying it somewhere else. They're going to keep selling you blades. They're going to keep selling the small stadium because they have to see the return on investment from that small stadium. So I don't normally tell you guys to go out and spend money. That is not what I'm about. But if you are going out to spend money, if you do want this to become a local scene type thing, it has to be with the Hasbro stuff. If you want it to come through Hasbro, if you want Hasbro to start spending their money, we have to start spending money through Hasbro, not Takara Tomy. I'm still going to buy Takara Tomy stuff on occasion, the stuff that I really like. But I think I'm just going to start lining up with the American blading scene and start using those. I know that this was a bit of a rant video, but I really want everyone to understand, we're not going to get taken as serious as we want to be unless we really start showing Hasbro that we exist. Right now, we're still showing Takara Tomy we exist. We are doing the pre-orders. We're waiting in line. We're ordering through third-party retailers. We're finding Buy Ye and all of these other ways to buy things from Japan, which is great. The products are great, but Hasbro is sitting over there on the end of the bench and they don't have a date to the prom. So we have to start showing a little bit of attention to Hasbro because that is our local retailer. So we have to start using the stadiums. We have to start using the blades. We have to start pumping that information out through these channels, through our social media, and really start pushing that narrative. So that's how Beyblade America, in my opinion, that's how we get it into these stores. It's starting with Hasbro restricted events, right? Like one of my followers said, he competed in a Hasbro restricted event. It's happening at the tour or the power tour. I don't know what it's called. Battle Across America, where they're not even letting you use your own combination because they think it's a fake blade, right? So we have to start using the Hasbro only stuff and really seeing how far we can get with that. So, all right, guys, this was a bit of a longer one, and I want everybody to know that if we want to be taken seriously, then we have to take this seriously. I mean, that's pretty much what this whole video was about, serious money talk. So, hey, I hope everybody has a great day, and yeah, watch the next one.